That's cold. Hi guys, my name is Kristen. Welcome back to my channel. Kristen is Fully Booked. Today I'm going to be sharing a few different series that are very popular on BookTube that you can find on the app SCRIBD. SCRIBD is a digital platform that is subscription based. It costs $8.99 US per month, and that gives you access to all of the books that it has available on the app. So I wanted to show you or share with you guys some of the variety of series that you can find on this app to make the cost of $8.99 a month worth it for you. It is definitely worth it for me. I find it very cost effective. $8.99 US is like, I don't know, one moderately cheap paperback a month, and I read way more than one book a month using this app. So it is, while not free, it is rather cost effective for my style of reading. These are mostly young adult fantasy books, but there are some that I think are technically adult fantasy. I try to find series that I see mentioned all the time on BookTube, so they are ones that are a little bit more popular, and some of them I have read and some of them I haven't. Some of them I still intend to read, and some of them I have no intention of reading, but maybe you do. So the first series is the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which, if you haven't heard, has a Netflix adaptation coming in April. There is definitely still time to read this series. It is a smaller, lighter, young adult fantasy series following the main character, teenage Alina. Just got a huge sunburst there. Alina discovers that she has a magical power that has been previously thought to have been lost, and it is perhaps the key to saving the world from the Shadowfold, a dark magical area that is bisecting the country in two. All three books in this series are available on SCRIBD. That is Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising, the third book. However, the other very popular Leigh Bardugo series, Six of Crows, is not on the SCRIBD app. The next series that is available on SCRIBD that I have read is the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. This is the A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and I think the third one is A Court of Wings and Ruin? War and Ruin? Wings and Ruin. These first three books are sort of the main core series, I will say. I know that there is A Court of Silver Flames. I'm not 100% certain. I did think that I saw it as a audiobook, but I will double check and let you know. All three of these books are available only in the audio format on SCRIBD, but if you enjoy listening to audiobooks, the narrator does a pretty good job.
Hey guys, Editing Kristen here. So I looked it up, and A Court of Silver Flames, the newly released next installment in this series, is already available on SCRIBD as an audiobook as well. Don't get confused, the description for whatever reason is the description for the bridge novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight. So I'm not sure what happened there, but if you search A Court of Silver Flames on SCRIBD, it will take you to the correct book. And obviously I forgot to mention that the bridge novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight, that is sort of the bridge between the first trilogy and whatever is coming after this, is also available as an audiobook.
A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first book, and this starts out with a Beauty and the Beast retelling meets a Tamlin fairy tale retelling. The rest of the series does not follow the Beauty and the Beast setup, so I won't go into anything outside of that, but it does really expand the world and the story from there. This book, I would say, is a 2 on the spice scale. The spice content definitely goes up as the series goes on. The first book is just maybe like a 1, but the rest of the series is definitely a 2, and you could consider this series to be categorized as fantasy romance, as the romance does play a significant part to the overall plot of the trilogy. The next series is the Devabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. This series I have read, although I did not read it on SCRIBD originally. This is one where the first 2 books are available in the ebook format, and the third final installment in the trilogy, Empire of Gold, is actually only in the audio format. I have found that this is somewhat of a trend with SCRIBD. When books are newer, they are usually first made available on SCRIBD in the audio format, and it is, I would say, much later that the book becomes available in the ebook format, well after the publication date. So a lot of the series, I've noticed, the last book is available only in the audiobook format, especially if it is a more recent release. This fantasy series follows the main character, Nari, who is a human living in Cairo at the start of the series. She is a con artist living on the streets and accidentally summons a jinn who then takes her to Daevabad, the city of jinn, where she is enmeshed in some pretty intense political and religious conflicts. This is a new adult series, and all 3 books in the trilogy are available. That is The City of Brass, The Kingdom of Copper, and the final book, The Empire of Gold, although Empire of Gold is only in audio. Now I'm going to talk about series that are available on SCRIBD that I haven't read yet, but that are fairly popular on BookTube, and the first of which is the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. This series is, I think, an urban fantasy following the main character, Kel. It exists in a world where there are essentially 4 different parallel worlds, all connected through the city London. There is a red London, gray, white, and black London. Some of them have magic and some of them don't. And Kel is from red London, which I think has magic. He's a magician who has the rare ability to travel between the different Londons, making him a wonderful ambassador with a side hustle as a smuggler who smuggles people into different versions of London so that they can see a world that they haven't seen before. He meets Delilah in one of the worlds, and I have heard that this is a very fun, adventure-filled trilogy at large with a found family component. I don't typically go for urban fantasies, but I admit that I have heard pretty consistently good things about this series. The only V.E. Schwab book that I've read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and while I didn't love the overall story of Addie LaRue, I did really appreciate V.E. Schwab's writing, and so I do intend to check out this series at some point this year. The next series that is available on SCRIBD that I haven't read but still intend to is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, which exists in the Shadowhunters series. I have not read any Shadowhunter books. I feel like I've missed out on that. I don't really intend to read the majority of the Shadowhunters series. However, I have heard pretty good things about the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I've heard that there is a real love triangle in this. We're talking like a real triangle always, and that's interesting to me. I would be interested to see how Cassandra Clare does this. I also just am going in with like really lighthearted expectations in terms of what I'm going to get. While the Shadowhunters series at large is, I think, has to do with essentially these Shadowhunters have the ability to see and defeat demons in the world. Like they exist in our world, but no one else can see demons, something like that. The Infernal Devices is a prequel that is set in 1878 London. And then finally, I have 2 series that are very popular on BookTube that are available on SCRIBD, but I just have no intention of reading. The first of which is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare also. So this is more in the Shadowhunters. I believe this is the sort of original Shadowhunters series. I think there are 5 or 6 books. All of them are available on SCRIBD. These are there if you are interested in checking out Cassandra Clare and the series at large. I am going to check out the Infernal Devices, but really have no interest in following that up with the Mortal Instruments. Although maybe I will love Infernal Devices and check it out. Who knows? The final series that is available on SCRIBD, but that I personally don't have any intention of reading, that is Serpent and Dove. So far, this is a uncompleted series, so of what is published, both are available on SCRIBD in the audiobook format only. So that is Serpent and Dove, and the second book, Blood and Honey. The third book has not been released yet, and so therefore it is not on SCRIBD yet. This series follows Lou and Reed. Lou is a witch and Reed is a witch hunter, and it is a enemies to lovers fake marriage romance. If you want a really funny video, obviously check out Read with Cindy's channel, and her review of this book is hilarious. But something happens and the best case scenario for whatever reason is that Lou and Reed have to get married. I have heard a lot about this series, and while it has some things that I think that I would enjoy, I have also heard enough about it that no judgment, it's just I know that I won't enjoy those aspects of the book, and so I don't intend to read it. But you might, and so know that it is available as an audiobook so far of what's published in the series on SCRIBD. Okay, there are three sort of, I guess not honorable mentions, but other series that I wanted to mention because they are really popular. However, in each case, the final book in the series is missing. For two of these series, it makes sense because they are relatively recent releases, and that is the Ember and the Ashes series by Saib Tahir. It has the first three books in the series. However, the most recent conclusion to the series has not been made available on SCRIBD yet, so you could get the series started and hope that the final book comes out by the time you get there, or you could always find the fourth book in a different format. And the other one is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling where the main character is actually from our world and has cerebral palsy. She is taken to this magical world sort of like accidentally, where there is a beast type character, and that's the setup. The first two books in the series are available on SCRIBD. However, the third and final book, which just came out fairly recently, has not yet been made available on SCRIBD. And the series is by Brigid Kemmerer. I have not read this series. I will perhaps read it in the future, but it's not high on my priority list. I read a lot of Beauty and the Beast retellings last year, and I sort of am ready for a break from that. The Ember and the Ashes series, I am slowly making my way through. I have finished the first two books and have two more to go. And then finally, the final series that is almost completely available on SCRIBD, but just missing the last book, is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. It has the first 6 books in the series, including or plus the collection of novellas. So all of the novellas or short stories, I'm not sure which it counts as, those are all available individually or as the collection, The Assassin's Blade. All of those are available. However, the final book in the series, Kingdom of Ash, is not available on SCRIBD. I think that I did read the entire series on SCRIBD, and then I think I probably bought Kingdom of Ash on my ebook. I think that's what happened. Anyway, those are some series that are popular on BookTube and available using the app SCRIBD. If you have any questions about the app, feel free to ask me down below. If finances plays a role in how you make choices about buying books, then this is maybe something to consider. And I'm also going to try to maybe every now and then, like once a season, do a video of kind of new recent releases or books that have recently been uploaded onto SCRIBD, so you can see kind of the continuing progression of what is available on this app. That's it for me today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.